Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. This will be an interesting show. I was not planning on covering this again today. I had actually dropped a video this morning at 7 a.m. talking all about the Florida Gators, the recruiting they've had the last week ever since the Austin Simmons flip to Ole Miss. And that has played a key role, I believe, in their recruiting because they've gone all out. They've got several really good recruits that have committed to them. They may have thrown NIL money after it. They probably had some pocket commitments that they said, we need them now because, look, we've got to turn this narrative around. And they did a good job of doing that. You know, I have to admit it. I'm not happy to admit it.
I got to do something here. I still can't believe it.
Because you know how I feel about Florida Gators. But anyway, it is what it is. I got to be honest about it. But anyway, we're going to talk about Austin Simmons' dad. He actually did an interview and sort of cleared the air about everything and is flipping to Ole Miss, et cetera. And I think we need to kind of watch some of this. So yeah, right here, it says Simmons' dad speaks out, and it's the real reason that he flipped. And he also discussed Josh Heupel in this, which will surprise you a little bit.
Reporter named Emily Smar from the Palm Beach Post. Mm-hmm. And this is her quote, and this is her article. You're more than welcome to go see it, but there's a portion here I really want to kind of focus on. Mm-hmm. Let me see if I can make it just a little bit larger. Maybe I can't. So here, very important. The very first paragraph says, after hours of National Recruiting Service On3 reported that 17-year-old class of 25 recruit had officially reclassified to the class of 2023 and enrolled at Florida. Simmons' family stated that the claims were not accurate. What happened right there in that part of this? And
first and foremost, when that stuff came out, we even have a granted aid at Florida. So we couldn't be enrolled without a scholarship. And so we have a scholarship at Florida. It was a process. They knew we sent transcript to Florida, like every kid got to do. We sent transcript to Ole Miss. I don't send transcript probably 3 or 4 different schools, to be honest with you. They asked me to send them to them. So we sent the transcripts, the process, like I said, it was a last minute situation. And we had intention to probably enroll in Florida. We didn't enroll in Florida yet. So I don't know where that came out because I never talked to anyone about it at all.
Right. And so again, they have that in quotes, right? As if this is something you said. Well, that part is not in quotes. That's what On3 had reported. Yeah, so you're saying that's not, and again, we all know that's not true because he wasn't enrolled. Not accurate. Yeah, it wasn't accurate. He was not enrolled.
I said that's just not accurate. And I hung up.
Right. So it's not exactly because he's clearly he wasn't enrolled at Florida. Right. Now there was speculation about his reclassification, right? Mm-hmm. Of course, people know he had a very good GPA, and there's a possibility, right? Okay, next part of this. Meanwhile, the Simmons family was in touch with attorneys playing the waiting game to evaluate the best option for highly touted quarterback. Were there any deals about attorneys?
No.
And again, that's in quotation marks. In touch with attorneys.
No, I'm not an attorney. I got attorneys, but no, it's not the attorney about what? I had nothing to have attorney about. I got attorneys like everybody else got an attorney, but I had no reason to have an attorney because I had nothing in writing to give an attorney. You know what I'm saying? So if I had something to write to give an attorney, I would give it to him. You know what I'm saying? So no, I didn't touch with it. No, that had nothing to do with anything. No.
Okay, and here's the big part. Here's where everybody's kind of busting you up a little bit.
Yeah, I just saw that the other day you told me. I was like, ooh, I didn't even know it even happened.
In quotations, it says, Florida was nice. Don't get it twisted, Dave Simmons said on Friday. Mm-hmm. But the schedule is too tough, and they want DJ Lagway. Okay. Is that statement accurate? Because that's in quotations.
No, definitely out of context. First and foremost, it's the SEC. Everybody got a tough schedule. If I recall, if I'm looking right, Ole Miss got a tougher schedule than Florida. All right. Ole Miss got a deeper quarterback room than Florida. I said, look, man, first, my kid was coming to 2023. We met DJ Lagway. We know DJ Lagway. I had a great family. Okay. Austin, DJ Lagway, his mom and dad sat together during the spring game. We knew about each other. We knew it possibly. We were talking about baseball. He played baseball too. Have no problem with DJ. I think DJ Lagway was a great football player, great talented kid. But
I got you.
DJ Lagway, my son's a 2023 kid. I mean, why would I worry about DJ Lagway? He probably coming a whole year later. Like, it makes no sense. He's not even.
So this is a really good interview and a good get by Coach Hayes, I believe is the name of his YouTube channel. And he does a real good job interviewing this young man. And his dad, Austin Simmons' dad, is a former football player himself, a really good one, and played some arena football And he's also a coach himself. They talked about his grades. The kid's really smart. He's basically already graduated high school and he's already taken classes in college. So he's going to be a superior student. That's not even going to be an issue. He'll probably graduate early and do all that good stuff. But anyway, he's been obviously heavily involved in his son's life, which, I think that's a great thing personally. A lot of kids don't have that. So, he's taken some grief over that, which, look, if you want to give the guy grief over caring about his kid, whatever. But anyway, he's talking a lot about these quotes that they had in this article that he was worried about the schedule. Honestly, Ole Miss's schedule is about the same as Florida's in 2023. Now, 2024, the schedule does get tougher for Florida because Miami, Florida State, and UCF. But Ole Miss doesn't have an easy schedule. But when it came to the reclassifying, he might have got a little tricky there by saying that he wasn't reclassifying when obviously he was. So I don't know about all that. But anyway, let's let him continue.
So let's bring this up because, again, fans are going to be fans, and I get it. I love my Miami fan base. Everybody know I'm a Cane fan. I got my little Cane corn over here. Right. And sometimes, as soon as a kid is coming, we love him. He decided to go somewhere else. I remember when Shamar Stewart, the big-time D lineman from Pace, and you know him well, and he switched and went to Texas A&M. Mm-hmm. He sucked. He this, he that. To me, I get it. That's what fans are supposed to do. People going to hide behind the Twitter fingers. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But you're getting a lot of the blame. Let's get into this, because I want to talk about this. So basically, that article was taken out of context or misquoted or what?
A little bit of both. I think first thing I said, Florida will be fine. They got DJ Lowry coming in. They got 24. But remember,
I want to make that clear. You said that or you're saying this now? No, I said that. They're going to be fine. They're going to have DJ Lowry at 24. They won't miss Austin Simmons. They'll be fine. I said they're going to be fine. Everybody, if you look at the fan base, people think Austin's going to red shirt anyway. No one expected him to, quote unquote, be playing his freshman year, right? So it's really about development, and that's what it's supposed to be, quote unquote, they're supposed to be doing. So if we had competition, it would have been with Mertz and the two other guys that's already in, Max Brown, and I forgot the other guy name, which we all met, and we seen the meetings and stuff. They're very, like I say, very formidable quarterbacks. And I think my son will fit in just fine there and competed just fine with them. DJ Ladwood, I even thought about my mind when it comes to competition, because first, he's not even there. And secondly, I know my kid's skill set. I'm not concerned. I wouldn't be concerned about DJ Ladwood like that. Down to it, Lane Kiffin, this reveals one of the best quarterback coaches in the country. A lot of people don't even realize that head coach of Florida was a wide receiver coach under Lane Kiffin. See, a lot of people don't know that. I didn't know that. Where? Alabama. Oh, sure was. Okay.
Yeah. See, a lot of people don't know that. So when people don't know that, I do my research. Remember, I'm in the coaching, and so and Lane, believe it or not, they never talk bad about Coach. Mm-hmm. I mean, and trust me, I hear rumors about Lane say one thing word bad about Coach at all. But what happened was too, when he got in the meetings and talk about scheme and what they do with the quarterback and the stuff they talk about, they were doing at Ole Miss and Coach White's offensive coordinator. And then they start talking about body types and stuff like that, the type of stuff we're having conversation about as a coach, not a parent. And talking about what they did with Carson Palmer with their USC, what they did with Sanchez and different guys like that. I thought that fits more what my kid do than the more, quarterback run stuff and all that stuff like that. They would probably do a little more, with Anthony Richardson. My son's not Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, it sounds like the reason they flipped was because of Lane Kiffin. And I can understand that. Look, I hate admitting it because Lane Kiffin bugs me because of what he did to us, and I give him a lot of grief. But the guy's a good quarterback coach. He just flat out is, and he's got a long history of that. Austin's dad sees that. I totally see why he decided to go there. I think it's a better situation for him. He's going to get better mentoring. He also brought up the fact that his son's a baseball player. He wants him to play baseball is what he wants him to do, but the kid likes football. And he's got a better opportunity at Ole Miss, but it really boiled down to the coaches. He likes Billy Napier. He thinks he's a good dude and a good solid coach, but he thinks Lane Kiffin's a better quarterback coach. And that's really, and his system fits his son better. So I understand why he made the decision. Let's let him continue on and talk about this a little bit more.
Center field in USA baseball, that he could play, he could run. We just never ran him. So, so the dual threat, we're not the guy's a pocket passer, but he wants to sit there and do a lot of stuff. He likes to. Remember, I told you he's real cerebral. He wants to be in a position where he can make changes to the line and do stuff like that. Their offense gives him a lot of flexibility to do that. So that's really what it came down to. Lane Kiffin was a lot to do with it.
Yeah, and people talk about, right? People talk about Lane Kiffin. I think sometimes, I guess for a lack of a better term, I don't say this in a derogatory sense, but antics kind of overshadow coaching, right? People, Lane Kiffin beats to his own drum. He does things a little different than most people, and that kind of turns people off, right? But you can't deny from the coaching aspect, right, what he did at Alabama. He came in and kind of really, if you want to be honest, revamped the whole Alabama offense in the sense of from the prototypical pro style quarterback management game, pound the ball, throw it down the field, throw some shots to when you bring in a Jalen Hurts young man and the Tuas and so forth and so on, and those kind of guys, and they kind of revamped that stuff and having some Heisman Trophy winners there. And there are four guys that I may be thinking of that are quarterback guys and head coaches. And the reason that's important, because remember, I think you and I look at things the same from a coach's eye, not a fan's eye. And how I look at it, Dave, is one, and I've said this many times on my shows about head coaches that don't specify, meaning offensive, defensive coordinators. Lane Kiffin lost his offensive coordinator, right?
Right.
But guess what? The offense remains the same. Right? Let's go back. Lincoln Riley, right, would be a guy I would look at, right? Look what he's done with quarterbacks in the past 5 years, 5 years. Lincoln Riley would be one. Ryan Day would be two. He's done with quarterbacks. Okay. He's the offensive coordinator. Coordinators come and go, but the offense remains the same. Okay. They've had some defensive issues, but I'm strictly in talking about my kid being a quarterback. Listen, I would love to win a national championship. I would love to win that. But to me, that's cherry on the top. But the ultimate goal, if you have the talent, is get to that 3-letter league, NFL, right? Yep. How many guys played for Georgia last year, went and found a job on Tuesday morning as a national champion? Think about what I just said. You walk out as a 2-time national champion, good enough to play at Georgia. This is not a knock to Georgia and players. I'm just talking about the reality.
Right.
That player played, started there. Yeah, he may get a cup of coffee or whatever, but we're talking about really exploiting that stuff and getting the opportunity and saying, hey, man, my career is over. I've graduated. And, I got to go find a job now.
Man, Anthony Richardson, prime example of that.
Huh?
Anthony Richardson, prime example of that. Florida was 6 and 7. He went, 5th pick?
Right. He went 5th pick. Matt Corral is 3rd string, 4th string, whatever he was, and 2nd round pick in the league.
Yep.
Does Matt Corral get that chance if he's at Mizzou?
No.
I don't know. Maybe, maybe not.
No.
But anyway, back to my 4 coaches is Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, Lane Kiffin, and Josh Heupel right now. And Josh Heupel still has some more to prove with quarterbacks, but what he did with Hendon Hooker and the guys he's got coming in and the way he's running it, I'm just talking about quarterbacks playing. That's just my personal opinion.
And I'm going to cut you off.
Yeah.
3 of them schools, all the SEC.
And that's why I'm not a bit concerned about quarterback, because that's how people think. People that are coaches, fathers of kids that are great players, they know where their kids need to go if they're a quarterback. And Lane Kiffin's one of them. Josh Heupel's one of them. Obviously, Lincoln Riley, Brave Sir Lincoln, who ran away from the SEC.
Brave Sir Robin ran away. No! Bravely ran away.
I didn't.
Went out to the USC because he saw Oklahoma was going to have to play in the SEC. Brave Sir Lincoln and Ryan Day. So if you're in the top 4, guess what? You're going to have your pick of quarterbacks. That's why George McIntyre's so interested in the Vols. That's why Deuce Knight's so interested in the Vols. And Cutter Boley also would have been there too if not for George McIntyre. And they went ahead and reclassified him to Kentucky. But look, any good quarterback or great quarterback is going to want to come play for the Vols. That's just the way that it is. And the fact that this young man flipped to Ole Miss is solely because of the head coach. You know, he wanted to go somewhere to be developed. His father, being a former player himself and a coach, saw that as well. And that's why Florida's having a tough time getting a quarterback, because Napier is more of a detail-oriented guy. You always hear he's a CEO. Well, they want their kid to be developed, and they're not confident that Napier can do that for him. They saw that, Anthony Richardson struggled. He wound up going top 5, but he struggled. So that's going to concern a father. That's going to concern a player. Doesn't mean he can't do it. It just means he hasn't. So I thought you folks would find that interesting. That was a really good interview, talking about all the things that they considered before they decided to flip to Ole Miss. And they brought up Josh Heupel. Of course, they talked a lot about Lane and Billy Napier and all that. So anyway, I wanted to do a video on that because this just came out. I wasn't expecting him to do an interview. It was very interesting. If you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's be able to continue to cover the Vols and all our opponents and SEC and all that good stuff. If you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just boom, that's all you got to do. Hit that little button. I would appreciate it. And right over here's my most recent video. Be sure to check that out. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.